And in the advanced tutorial, we're going to finish the invoicing solution, tackling really advanced techniques. By the end of the intermediate solution, you're going to have basically a fully functional invoice solution. What we're going to do in the advanced is add all these bells and whistles and neat features and techniques that will really make your solution shine. We're going to cover things like the ultimate find, and this really is the ultimate find because I've been doing it for 10 years and it's really got every little item you could think of in this find script. We'll even explain why you'd want to have a find script, how it helps you to idiot-proof your solution. We'll create a back and forward button system just like you see in a web browser. This is often a very common thing to do. We'll cover how to save a found set. Let's say that somebody has this found set. It was really complex to design. It has new requests and things like that, and they just want to simply save it for future retrieval. Well, you can use that with some of the features in FileMaker, but why don't we just go ahead and create another feature that allows you to get more flexibility. Builds upon saving found sets feature that's in FileMaker. We'll also cover how to do a recursive phone filter. This one's really nifty. I like this one a lot. We'll have custom form letters. Now these are not just merge fields. We're talking about custom form letters in browse mode. So you can actually recreate Microsoft Word merge feature inside of browse mode so people can make their own merge letters without having to create a layout. We'll show you how to manipulate text styles with calculations. Very cool. It's very dynamic. We'll show you how to create new requests, but make it easy for the user so they don't even know that they're creating new requests. That's really one of the most important concepts in FileMaker. Is there's a lot of great features, but you need to distance your user from the complexity of those features. Especially new requests, usually they don't understand that. So we'll make it much easier so they don't even know that they're making new requests, but they'll get the advantage of using that feature. We'll talk about cross-tab reports, which are really nifty. A lot of people like to do those. Filtered portals. Well, those are really complex, and there's not a good description. If you don't know what a filtered portal is yet, well, you'll find out because we'll cover them in the advanced tutorial. Script triggers, one of my favorite features, allows you to run a script based on an event like clicking into a field or changing layouts. We'll use those to do change logs, and we'll also talk about deployment considerations. Even though we're not covering FileMaker Server or FileMaker Server Advanced, there's a whole other VTC tutorial on that. We still want to make sure that you have some of these deployment considerations inside your FileMaker solution. You have to sometimes program for that. One of them being, of course, record locking. But we'll cover all that kind of good stuff. Now, we want to talk about FileMaker Pro 11 Advanced. The reason we want to talk about it is because you can actually use this tutorial with FileMaker Pro or FileMaker Pro Advanced. We're actually using FileMaker Pro Advanced, as you can see up here. You can see the name right up there. But you can actually use FileMaker Pro, the regular version, with these tutorials. About, I'd say, 95% of everything in this tutorial can be done with just the regular FileMaker Pro. I still recommend FileMaker Advanced, and the reason is that it makes a lot of things easier. It's not that you can necessarily do something you can't do in FileMaker Pro, it just makes things easier, like the script debugger and things like that. And we've already covered that, so you've got an idea about that. But don't worry, if you can't afford FileMaker Advanced, your boss won't get it for you. You'll be just finding these tutorials with the regular FileMaker Pro. And so we'll note that when we're going through these tutorials, when you need FileMaker Advanced and when you can just use FileMaker Pro. So you should be okay. And even in a case where you can't use FileMaker Pro in a certain situation, there's usually a workaround. It's just usually a little bit harder than just copying and pasting or something like that. So you also want to understand that most of the techniques in this FileMaker 11 tutorial are applicable to FileMaker Pro 7, 8, 8.5, 9, and 10. That's because the file format from 7 through 11 is the same. It's a .fp7. The only thing you don't have are the new features. So if you're using FileMaker Pro 7, well, 90% of what we do is good programming techniques. They have nothing to do with the new features in 8 or 8.5 or 9 or 10 or even 11. So you need to realize that we'll try to go ahead and give workarounds when they can, such as in the example of variables. Well, there's no variables inside FileMaker 7, so we'll show you how to use a global field and a set field. So don't worry about that. Even if you have FileMaker 7, these tutorials will work for you. And again, when there's specific features that will not work in earlier versions, we'll mention it. And we'll substitute techniques when we can, so you should be okay with this. The last thing I want to tell you is build it. Don't just watch these videos. Don't get really excited after watching the videos and try to build your ultimate solution. I really recommend that you build the contact manager and the invoicing solution exactly as you see it in the tutorial. Don't just watch. You can watch the first chapter and then go back and review it and build it at the same time, or some people like to actually pause the tutorial, build what it's talking about, and then watch the rest of it and then pause it and so on and so on. But you will find out that if you build the solution, you will have much better retention. You will imbibe these techniques. It will be cemented in your brain. If you don't implement them, you're just going to have a much harder time. So definitely build it. I can't stress this enough. I have a lot of people contact me and I say, did you build it? And they say no. Well, this is probably one of the reasons you're having some difficulty with the techniques. So if you do one thing, make sure you build this and you'll be much better off. You'll have much better retention.